So are you live once we start it from Jitsi, or only once we start it from OBS? Hello.
Hey, sorry, I'm in a cafe. Where are you at, Kai?
It looks like maybe Kai, can you hear anything?
Wow, it's so loud. I can hear you.
Okay.
Kai, if you want, I'm in this cafe. It's not so bad. It's kind of near the and I don't know how to describe it. Near the like random, I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to find.
What?
Yeah, the Griff's description wasn't the best to find the place.
No, yeah, I have nothing. Lorelai knows where I am. No.
Honestly, you should just share location.
Yeah, he's got my Google. He's got me on Google Maps. He's my big brother right now, so he can trace my location.
Nice, but my phone is still down. Let me charge my phone. I'll find you later, Griff.
Yeah, no worries. We can do it after the meeting.
Cool. I was just asking, do you guys know with OBS, does the live stream start once you do it on Jitsi or once you do it on OBS?
It's separate. Jitsi has its own live stream built in, which you're currently using. So then you don't also have to stream via OBS because then you have two colliding streams.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kai was saying Jitsi and OBS.
No, you can use...
I said you can use the stream key for both services. Actually, all services or all clients or whatever that stream video.
Because the key is it's basically like logging into the YouTube, right?
Yeah, but I never even put the key into OBS. So I don't know where it thought it was from.
But you used OBS half an hour ago?
Well, I used both. I thought you had to do both.
Well, you can record locally with OBS in case the stream fails.
Should I do that?
If we do that, then we don't necessarily need to take notes. That's what
but like it's streaming. It says it's live, and it's always been live when it says that it's live.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on that note, my note taker backed out, and I asked some others, but I didn't get anybody. I'm also available to take notes as long as Griff is still facilitating, but I don't know if anyone...
I'm happy to facilitate, and if you post the notes in the Jitsi chat, I'll open it up and I can take notes when you're talking. Or
I can also take notes, and the stream is working great.
Oh, good. Cool.
So, let's get this party started. Let's see we can do the classic intentions, distractions, and what the hell happened this week. Does anyone want to start?
I'll go ahead and get started. It's been a really interesting week. Just to share a little bit about what I've been working on and hear what you guys are working on and take a look at these Lumios. And I don't really have a lot of distractions other than that I got this new little streaming laptop and I'm working on figuring out how to get it set up. And let's see. So this was a really exciting and interesting week. We had the new release go live. So I've been encouraging strongly lots of people to get in there and create some milestones and report issues. I know we got a few of them. Wrapping up the month for Reward DAO, so it was a good time to try to get people to put some milestones up there. We got a few new people creating their own milestones this month, hooray, and even creating issues out of what they found. Working on cleaning up all of the instructions for how to create milestones, and also kind of going through the wiki a little bit to see what else is impacted by this change and create some issues on GitHub for some things contributors could help with. And if I can make the change myself, I do. We added some new features to PointsBot now. So when someone gets dished points, they get an email that says they got points and what to do about it. So that was really cool to get live also. I'm preparing to go to Detroit. I've been taking a look at who's presenting there, kind of figuring out what are the things that I think would be good for us all, for me to attend. Share about it I can while I'm there. Let's see what else we have. Met with to chat about what the platform up now. Found some interesting little things that they're actually looking for our recommendations as the leader in the space, or some charities that they can donate funds to aren't a good fit for Giveth because they're not as experienced ecosystem, or they've got a lot in place. So I put together some information to share with them based on folk that I would have loved to onboard, but they're not ready yet. Then I also met with this fellow yesterday who basically was explaining that he wants to build a platform exactly like Giveth. And he's got this name for it, Change Funder, calls the people changers. So shared just some connecting, we kind of just chatted about what it is that they're trying to build. And I figured out it's pretty much exactly Giveth. So that was an interesting thing to look at. I referred him to the Pactful piece because they're looking at this as the model. So I felt like token bonding curves was something that they should start taking a look at. Shared with them how Pactful brought up donation system at Hackathon, and he thought that was really amazing. So a little bit follow up there to see how that can be beneficial for us, or if we just say, yeah, the code's out there, go ahead, as you will. I think that's about it. I mean, there's a variety of other here, but the main part is getting the wiki updated with our new release and issues up for contributors to tackle. So I'll pass it over to Chris.
You got caught off when you said the name, Danny, of the person.
Oh, it's you. Sorry.
Okay. So, yeah, my intention for the meeting is just to catch up with you guys and to go through some of the Lumio proposals. My distraction is that, I missed 8 hours of normal sleep before yesterday, so I'm a wreck. And also just arrived in The Hague for the Odyssey deep dive, and I'm distracted by being in a very sad, depressing, cold hotel room, which I normally try to avoid, but I'll survive. What I did this week, I was on the call with the heritage people that Danny, Michael, and Wojtek were on as well. I reviewed 2 texts by Josh, on texts that he has written, and I dished some points to people for this and for other things. I wrote part 1 of something that of a text that I hope to finish tonight, and it's like I call it right now, the title I've given it is like the future of giving is crowdfunding the commons, and it's actually just a simple text in my words to like explain like, hey, this is what has been happening with Giveth. So to make the link between what we were doing and the direction we're shifting towards. And so I still want to now integrate a specific example, which I'm probably going to steal from one of the talks that Griff gave, but he gave 3 in the last 3 days. So I have to I'm going to at least watch one and steal one of the examples from it. And put it in there, and then the call to action I still have to write, which is join us, come to the hackathons, build with us. And then I'll share it. Then what else? I had the comms meeting, which was really nice. We also closed quite some issues, and I created a number of new issues in the comms meeting. And then, so what's coming up now is tomorrow the Odyssey Ethical Deep Dive, where I'm representing Giveth together with Josh. And that's tomorrow in the Senate of The Hague. And I have my decentralized t-shirt with me to wear in the Senate of The Hague because that's appropriate. And I give it to Kai.
Yeah, awesome. Represent. Very cool that you can make it. That's the power of a decentralized community. Somebody might be near and have the time. So I'm a bit distracted by the conference flow around me. There's not much, not as much as last year, but still they're a bit loud. So I hope you can hear me. Not if you can. Okay, cool. And also a little bit of no sleep because my flight went at 7. So I traveled to Paris today to work on the hackathon. So that's up. I hope we can still so that's still the mission for today to get more into what will we be building, and you'll hear all about it when it's done. So what I did before this week was research about reading just a lot to get on speed with a lot of the things, and also the technologies that guys used at Denver, and just checking out all those things. And I helped a little with the board maintenance at the comms meeting. And what else? There was a social coding meeting, and I would like to, this little project that Lorelei started, for it to have some traction. So I also followed up with that. So maybe we can make a work session out of it, Lorelei. And now I'm here. Let's see what the rest of the week brings. And I give it to Griff, who has a lot to tell.
Griff, you're muted.
He is struggling to unmute himself. I had the problem before.
Just leave and come back in.
No, sorry. I actually I couldn't find it in Chrome because it was in Brave. Okay, so so I had let's see, intentions for the meeting, to facilitate and have a good time, and then probably make sure we add Voitex multisig thing in here, which I have been neglecting. And then distractions, I'm at a cafe, so I'll have to be playing the mute game a lot. Now I know where I'm in Brave, so that'll be easier. And then what did I do this week? So there were some decentral things that came up, pushing the art car, trying to close things out with everything from last year, going back and forth, setting up a second camp, blah, blah, blah. I went on a podcast with Rafa and Omar. I guess it was, it was a YouTube video with Crypto's News, and it seemed really good. I also replied to the comments that people made there. Love working with trolls. And then also started this initiated a integration with the PyDai. There's going to be a push on March 14th to do a fundraiser for DAI for charities, and I got Grace Aid and Giveth and Pastoral Limon to be up there, so pushing that. But then, of course, I had to onboard George in a little bit and keep working with him just on the side to make sure that he knows what's going on, and working with the DApp and GitHub, mostly checking in on the Gitcoin bounties. Then organizing Odyssey Hackathon people. We got a boat. We're going to stay on a boat. It's going to be a lot of fun. and just kind of keeping everyone in line and trying to find a path for Team 3. And then did some item 3 stuff and some .node stuff, some meetings and stuff. I made a Lumio for MolkDAO, actually, and I've done a lot of, and we started debating issues there for Ethereum funding, so that's kind of cool to be working with them. There's also this, there was also all these talks, so prepped, had to make slides and do all that and give the talk yesterday. So, and I think that worked out well. And then a lot of networking, just a lot of like talking to people, asking. I met the Curation Markets people and like trying to, you know, tell them about what the Token Engineering Commons and whether or not it's gauging their interest and whether or not they want to be involved. So far, it's been super positive. Everyone's really excited about it. So it was a really busy week. I feel like I actually didn't do that much, but and I'm way behind, but things happened. So that's good. I will pass it to Lorelei.
Thank you. Hey guys. I am not very distracted this meeting, besides just like trying to take notes and be a good participant at the same time. And yeah, my intention is to be a good host of this dev meeting, or sorry, community meeting, and to talk about this this piece that Wojtek brought up. I think it'd be really great to sort of set him free on this thing that he's asking for a solid opinion on. And this week I traveled from Tijuana to LA and LA to Paris. I also helped with onboarding of George a bit, and I'm continuing to do that. I've been working with Kelsey from OmiseGo on this partnership for EggCon, the social impact prize that Giveth and MakerDAO are sponsoring. And I've been scheduling some unicorn check-ins as it's now hitting those like 3-month markers for a lot of our unicorns to go through their sort of assessment. Let's see. Oh yeah, I proposed this little project to the social coding community and the contributors of making an interface, a really simple interface for the roles process that will make all of us happier. Worked on a lot of Africa burn prep and research, and yeah, I've been at SCC, and yeah, just making connections with people there, and been struggling with the DApp a little bit as far as unicorn delegations. When will it work? When does it not? But yeah, excited for this meeting. And let's see, I know from my notes that everybody has checked in, right?
Yeah, I think we're in. So let's start the show. So we have a couple of points. The agenda is basically what to do if there's not enough DAI, which definitely needs to be talked about. Don't forget to make a weekly DApp issue prioritization. Go vote on that. And then, of course, so that can just be like kind of skipped unless anyone has anything that they want to bring. Actually, maybe
I have something to say about it, but
okay. Well, we can make it a point at least. And then Wojtek's multisig handover. We should be able to push through this pretty quickly, I think. But let's start with what to do if there's not enough DAI. I think this is yours, Chris.
Yes. Good. 1 second. I'm opening the, yeah, here it is. So I created it after the discussion of last week. which to me came across a bit undecided. So I tried to make it in a more concrete proposal. So the tension right now is that when there is now not enough DAI available in like the accounts of Giveth, what do we do? Are we allowed to make milestones in ETH or not? Right now, in a previous community meeting, we decided that the rule was to not have any milestones made in ETH anymore, except for the reward DAO ones. So my proposal was that we stick to only making milestones in DAI, and that that there is one person, possibly Griff, who makes sure that there is always enough DAI available to like pay people, whether it's through the Unicorn DAC or through the various campaigns. So updates. So before I make then the actual proposal, like I've read the feedback of the different people. So there's like a nice division of people agreeing and disagreeing, and one person abstaining. So the thing is, so the feedback, well, we'll do a reaction round, so that's going to help us that I can make an amended proposal. But so my proposal was actually that, and I think I'm going to stick it with it for now, but I'll amend with pleasure at the end if I hear you guys' feedback. I think it's just a practical thing if there is just one person who is responsible to always like put the ETH into DAI. It always also makes it easy to keep like our system transparently, and that people, when they have a milestone, regular reward, people, for example, of 700 DAI, that it stays 700 DAI and that it's not suddenly ETH. The main advantage that I see is that not everyone has to separately then do the transaction and transfer their and put their ETH into DAI if they want to have DAI. But yeah, I like to have the DAI because it's stable, and I put afterwards a part in ETH. So sometimes it depends, but to me it was easy that we had this decision to be in DAI. Long explanation because I'm tired, but concisely the proposal is that we have one person that is assigned when there are funds for Giveth, wherever they come from, that and wherever they are. I don't care if they're in the Unicorn DAC or in our multi-sig or whatever, that there is someone who takes care of transfer putting available ETH in DAI, so that we stick to the current decision to pay ourselves in DAI. If not, we can make it more flexible, but that is my current proposal. And any clarifications?
So for me, I feel like this proposal has morphed a lot from what was said in the meeting last week, and then what was on the Lumia, and now it's morphed again. So this kind of, my question is this proposal really valid to be talked about in this meeting? Because it feels like a new proposal that didn't have 24 hours.
Oh, well, no, actually, it may be then I didn't make myself clear. I don't think it has morphed. It's literally what's in there. The proposal is that we stick to paying people in DAI, but I stay open to feedback, and I'm flexible to change the proposal. That's all I'm saying. But the proposal is that we make our milestones in DAI, and that there is one person who is responsible of making sure that funds come in that need to be used to pay people, that it is from ETH to DAI. So that is the proposal, and there wasn't, I don't think it morphed since the community meeting, in the sense that I just said that I was going to make a proposal, which I did. There was no one who told me you have to make that specific proposal, because there was no alignment on how it should be exactly phrased. I just made a proposal. So I don't think it morphed. I hope this does that.
And it's okay if it does morph. There's nothing. The thing is, the Lumio is for getting understanding, and then the decision maker is the decision maker.
So I do have a clarifying question. The way I'm reading this right now, it is limited to regular reward. So this situation and the proposal is specific to how are we handling regular rewards being paid only in DAI. Is that correct?
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have put that term in. I would say like making milestones except for the reward DAO, because that is, I think that's how I put it in the proposal, right? Apologies if that is not.
Yeah, so that's where I have hesitation, because I thought we're adding DAI to ETH and making this an option as to what people want to create their milestone in. I understand that regular rewards, the decision is that those are paid in DAI, but I would think that if people want to create their milestones in ETH, they should be able to do that outside of regular rewards.
Okay, I get your point. Well, I'll just yeah. There's a situation. There are some people who are not on regular rewards, so that makes it more complicated, and maybe that's not
right.
Yeah. So I don't have a personal opinion on that. So I'll just try to maybe let's just maybe I'll let you guys react on the proposal, which is that when we have ETH that. Yeah, I'll just say it for now to make it clear, like let's say that regular rewards are paid in DAI, because that is what the specific decision was indeed on the last time, and that we might want to change. So I give it to whoever.
I can react. So I like the idea of trying to convert the ETH to DAI. The only problem is that the people who donated lose traceability. But like in the end, if they, if they donate if we expand this later and they donate Swarm City tokens and no one wants to take Swarm City tokens and we need to convert it to pay people, I mean, hey, that's a signal back to the donor that's like, hey, give us something we can use, guys. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad precedent to set. I definitely love the idea of keeping regular rewards in DAI and letting people speculate outside of the platform instead of inside the platform. This goes for expenses too. Basically, anything denominated in fiat gets paid out in DAI. I think that's just a solid standard to have, and it keeps things simple. And then we just have to be willing to convert the other assets that become available, like I just did with Bitcoin. I mean, we had a Bitcoin wallet. I just converted it all into DAI and donated it to Give It DAC. So now we have an extra 4K in DAI or something like that, which is really nice. So yeah, I think it makes sense. I think we just need to be proactive in turning stuff Ether that's around into DAI and pushing it through. And yeah, great job, Chris. Thank you for stewarding this. How about I'll pass it to Lorelei.
Okay. Will someone note for me? I am happy with this, this idea of appointing a person to be the exchanger. I really think it's important to have that role, and I like that you put that initiative, Chris. And I am curious about if there's ever a scenario where we want to be keeping ETH, and what are to speculate on it and maybe gain value, because we've definitely done very well from that before. And so I wonder, at what point do things get turned into DAI? Is it say if we got donated $1 million DAI worth of ETH, would that person's job be to exchange it all right away, or would it be oh well, over the next year we only need I don't know, 100,000, and so I'm only going to change over 100,000 and let the rest of it speculate. So I don't know. I'm curious about that. But yeah, in general, I support this idea. But I also, okay, the only other thing is that I kind of liked where I thought this proposal was going from last week's meeting was just to loosen up on that decision we made that was like, you can only make your regular rewards and die. Like, I thought this was a cool opportunity to open up that rule and be like, hey, you can make your regular rewards milestones in ETH or die, depending on which makes more sense. So I did kind of like that, but yeah, I'm happy with this. I wouldn't block it. And I'll pass it to Kai.
Yeah,
it's really.
Whoa.
Can you start over, Kai? You had your walkie-talkie effect.
Oh no, is it still there?
No, now it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, so it really is a hard question because we're dealing with scarcity, so it's not a formality. The truth is that it's hard, that it's work if somebody has to exchange. It's true that Griff usually does all that on top of whatever he does, which is a lot. I'm not sure we could make a roll out of this. It would be interesting. Because we would need one, essentially, if we... because we cannot just not accept one thing that's donatable and give it not without having a role. That makes no sense. So we should go either or. And I do like the whole anti-speculation aspect of Griff. Maybe this will just be, sand under the bridge in the future with stuff like XDAI, because why would there be Ether, just XDAI? But it's not as simple as that because we have ETH, and yeah, it would be interesting if there was a way, and I'm sure there would be a way if we could do it in the depth, but it probably blows up the scope of the whole thing. But yeah. I kind of want to abstain on this, or say if we really, in times of scarcity like it is now, we can accept anything, and then if times should change, we could switch back to DAI. And who has not gone? Dani is in the system.
So you're still muted, Dani.
Okay, well, I got a chance to practice. I think it's important to limit the scope of this change to the regular rewards that you're suggesting right now, because I'm just thinking about our documentation, and this is really a significant change from the way everything's been written already. And when I just think about how it's a change, and it's a change in direction that we're making internally, but how that's represented to our users and in our documentation, I think needs to be considered. Just as I've been looking through, I see changes that I need to make based on the new release, but this is also a change that affects, it could actually make some of the things that are in our wiki, etc., incorrect. So I feel like there's a bigger scope of work that is affected by this decision. Other than that, I guess that's just my suggestion, is let's limit the decision right now to regular rewards as it's written, and then take a look at what all would be affected as we roll out this change on a bigger scale. I think I'll pass it back to Griff. No? Who hasn't reacted?
I think everyone has reacted, right? Okay, so then I can amend and clarify, or yeah. So so first, yeah. So to come back to give some feedback to the points made. So it seems that people are agreeing to this. So to react to Danny's point, I would indeed say like let's limit this to regular rewards, because in the sense that this is not a change. Then also this is just what is already decided, and that is like in the stated on the wiki that regular rewards for the given DAC are paid in DAI. So in that sense, we don't change anything. I would also say that doesn't have to change any of the guidance that you're writing for how the dApp works, Danny, because this is just like the dApp works as it works, and how to give it DAC pays regular reward people is just a given DAC rule. So that's like just like a sub rule of the main rules for the dApp, I would say. So I think that should be okay as far as I hear or see it right now. So my amended proposal would be, and feel free to reject, because I mean it, I truly don't feel so strongly about it, I just want some clarity, is that we, in order to avoid to not like work with speculation, that we in the dApp, that we leave this to people outside of the dApp, so that we stick to the previously decided decision that regular rewards are paid in DAI, and that we create/assign create a role that we define in the role sheet for someone to turn ETH into DAI for regular rewards. And my proposal would be that that person is Griff, because he is already doing that anyways, if he would be up for that. Oh, this extra asterisks disclaimer on this is that to the mention that is important about like what do we do when there's like a huge donation and how do we deal with this. I would say let's decide on that the moment that happens. Right now, Griff has always been like managing it really well, the funds, in the sense like, okay, not exchanging everything right now into DAI, but like changing it as we need it, so that we don't like that we go with the market. Personally, I trust Griff in that. So proposal is to regular rewards to keep it in DAI, and to create a role in the sheet for doing this. And proposal is that that person would be Griff unless someone objects, and then we can create a different Loomio for assigning that role. Any objections?
Yes, tabled then, no? Not approved.
Sorry?
Tabled then, right?
Why does it have to be tabled?
Because there needs to be a new Loomio around anyway.
No, it's just an amended proposal I'm making. I think.
Well, yeah, it's a big amended proposal. It's like 3 paragraphs.
Well, okay, maybe that's just because I'm tired. I'll try to summarize it quickly one more time.
It's not huge, it's of course, but you talked. You had a very long amend and clarify. Yeah.
I do agree, and I don't think it's the way that you're like expressing it, Chris. I think that there is significant changes.
So I just object to just approve something now. I would recommend to table this and make a new Loomio where it's thought out in clearer words what's the proposal. Because I get what we want, but having a new role, I don't know.
Roles don't go through Loomios. Roles happen through the roles process.
That is true.
Yeah, but he's also proposing that in this proposal, and he's proposing that it's you, Griff. So.
He's
not objecting.
I'm not going to object. It's the role I have already. It's just defining it.
Sorry, it is classic that we just looked for somebody who wants to do it, or the person who does something formalized to do something. So,
no, sure. Okay, well then, that's good, a good objection, Kai. So my amended proposal after objections is let's stick to DAI for regular rewards, and let's create a role in the role sheet, and then someone can fill in that role. That's my amended proposal. Are there any objections to that? No?
Proposal.
Okay.
As they always do, almost. Okay, so the next point is weekly DApp issue prioritization. Lorelai, you said you had a point on there.
Oh yeah. Just I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but Michael changed the format where it's no longer like a weekly poll, like a new poll every week. It's a long-term one. It says it closes in 4 months, and they're just gonna like add and remove issues as the weeks progress. And so like it's kind of open for us all to like, yeah, just be in more of a long-term flux with that. And I was confused when I saw it, and I had to ask Michael about it, so I thought it might be valuable to other people. No.
So no proposal or anything?
No, no. I just
okay. Proposal tabled. Next is we have Wojtek. So there's actually a Illumio thread about this that Kaya's graciously started. I kind of want to just take over this and make a proposal on it, if that's okay, Kai.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically the tension is Wojtek wants off the multi-sig. He says he's going to burn the key. So like, for me, it's like, okay, Wojtek, well, you know our process. Make Illumio, and then it becomes a thing. And we made Illumio for him. He can also make a transaction on the multi-sig that's like, hey, vote me off. And he can be removed that way. Burning the key doesn't get him off of any liabilities as far as I'm concerned, because he still could have the key. Like, it's hard to prove that you destroyed a key. So his solution doesn't necessarily, my tension is that his proposed solutions don't really work. And the other tension is we owe Wojtek a lot. Like, he's a sweetheart. We love him. We should really like kick this off faster for him. And I'm sorry that I haven't really, maybe I'm the person who has the best perspective to really push it. He's on 4 multi-sigs, and we need to replace him. And I think that there are lots of people that want to replace him, and we just really need to make that a priority this week. So my proposal is that we replace Wojtek on the multi-sig. Trying to think if I'm going to have time this week to do it. And I will tomorrow, I will beg Lorelai to make me sit down and finish that spreadsheet so that we can define the multi-sigs. And we have Illumio vote on who gets added to each multi-sig coming out of that thread. So people need to nominate themselves, and we'll need to do like serious outreach here to make sure that individual outreach, so that the people who are in the Unicorn channel that might want to be on this thing, that they have a personal notification and that we get a response from them on whether or not they want to be nominated to be part of the multi-sig. And by Thursday, we have an answer on who we replace them with the multi-sig so that we can vote them off. Yeah. So that's the, I'll ask for clarifying questions.
Yeah, I have one. Didn't we, so like seeing who's interested to actually participate in it and so on, we already did that, Illumio, right? So we just can pick the names if I'm correct.
We didn't. We talked about it last week, and then it kind of ended that, okay, people want to go on, and we want to do put some people off. I might have said that I will make the Illumio, so I think I'm the blocker here. But yeah, we did not make the Illumio about it. We basically talked about it last week, and but it's also concerning only this one main multi-sig, the Illumio we have now.
Exactly, that's the problem. He's on 4 multi-sigs, and they all have very different purposes. And not everyone wants to be on all of them, and not everyone's qualified to be on all of them. So we have to really like debate this with like a little more clear understanding of what the situation really is. There's 4 multi-sigs. One is for overflow, all it does is the money that's in the bridge, it receives funds when there's too much in, and then puts funds in so that we can reduce the fear of that bridge being hacked, right? And then there's another one that is on Rinkeby that can upgrade the whole smart contract system. You know, I imagine that Danny and Lorelei don't really want to be on that because it's kind of weird. You know, who knows what's going on with the smart contract system? And that actually had a transaction today, or sorry, when we had to upgrade the smart contracts, and it was me, RJ, and Wojtek that signed it. So like Wojtek is a clear piece there that really needs to be replaced. The other people who are on it are Jorge and Jordi. So then we need another one for the escape hatch for the bridge. So if the bridge has a problem or we're being hacked or something and we're scared, there's an escape hatch caller. We don't necessarily need to replace them, but maybe we should. And then there's the actual Giveth multi-sig. Yeah. So.
Okay, makes sense.
Other clarify. I think I better clarified the scope. Thank you, Chris. Does anyone else have any other clarifying questions? Maybe I'll restate the proposal. Proposal is that by Thursday, we have to have an answer for whether or not we're going to replace him, and that we kick him so that he can initiate being kicked off these multi-sigs. And that's the proposal.
Clarifying question.
Yeah.
Griff, maybe it's easier if you then propose, because we don't need to have an answer to if we want to kick him off. He wants to get off, so that's the proposal is especially to filter out the people. I guess the proposal is probably to like define the scope, which you just did, so we have it in the notes. So you have your Lumio ready. Like these are the things, and then you have to signal if you want to be on there, yes or no or something. That's probably going to be your proposal, right?
And we as a community have to vote on that. So it's a lot. I'm making a hard scope because it could fail, and that's okay. Like maybe we don't end up getting people on these multi-sigs by Thursday, whatever. But at least we tried.
And then he sees that we're like working on it. That should be okay.
And then we'll get it by next Thursday. So like that's okay.
I would like. Okay.
Sorry. Is there any reason why he can't initiate exiting the multi-sigs before we put new people on?
Because he's a sweetheart and he's really nice. Because it would make it really hard to pass anything if we actually have an emergency. So if we kick him off, like he can initiate it, but if we actually vote him off, that actually like. For instance, the LP God, I call it Liquid Pledging God multi-sig. It's a 3 of 5 multi-sig. We take them off, it becomes a 3 of 4 multi-sig. We have to go to Jorge and Jordi to get something done, you know. And well, Jordi may not have time. Jorge definitely doesn't care. So like, you know, that limits what we can do. It makes it really hard for us. So he's being very generous.
Not safe enough to try to just like.
It's safe enough to try, but we shouldn't do it. Like for him, he's just being Wojtek, who is really nice, and he's trying to make sure that Giveth does a successful job, you know, and that we just need to hold up our end of the deal, you know, and make it a priority this week. Okay, then reaction rounds. Who would like to start?
I can go. Yeah, so thanks for doing this, Griff, and taking this upon you to making that proposal, or like forcing Lorelei and you to sit down and actually make that proposal. All good. So thanks for doing that, and yeah, no objections whatsoever. No further reactions. It seems the way to go, so makes sense. And I'm pretty sure indeed that like if we started, and if the first proposal is just to get the people on there, and then the next round is then actually us to vote on those people. It could be that the first round is just like, hey, this is a scope. We need, and we have, you can like give yourself up as a person who wants to be on one of these multi-sigs. Voila, then we have those people, and the week after it, we vote on those people. And in that sense, you split it up, and then it's maybe simpler to do. And, you know, Wojtek is not going to stress out that it's like 1 week later, and it just makes it an easier process to do. He just, when he wrote that, it's just because he wants us to do something and not sit on it. So that could make it easier, just like first, hey, who wants to, and this is a scope, who wants to be on which multi-sig? Okay, you're a candidate. Week after it, we vote on those people, and it's done. And then we actually make it in the multi-sig, in the different wallets, so that it actually happens, and we kick Wojtek off. And that's my reaction, and I give it to Danny.
Yeah, so I hear there's 4 multi-sigs that need somebody new. And when I look at the first one, there's at least 2 of us who have already said we're willing to take on at least one of those, probably 3 or 4 of us. So getting a list of what the 4 are and who are the best qualified for each of those up and agreed to sounds like the next step. And then making it happen can happen right after that. And that all feels really good. Pass it to Kai.
Yeah, I think we got some good nominations, and we have Michael now, who is a good replacement for Wojtek, as far as I see it. Maybe time difference is a little bit, but Michael is really there all the time. So, and Donnie as well, but Michael especially as the DApp maintainer is a good call for maybe those heavier multi-sigs. But I agree, there were some good examples of Lumio procedures. I'm happy if Griff takes the charge, or just say it if you don't want to do it. Yeah, I see Bowen came. We have a drop-in. Give it to Bowen.
Bowen, are you there? If you're there, we can't see you or hear you, although you're not muted.
Yeah, no, Bowen says in the chat that he's having tech difficulties.
Okay, then did Lorelei go?
No. Yeah, I totally support this. This is great. I'm happy to help with the Lumio process and crack the whip here. Yeah. Good.
Okay, cool. So then amended proposal. I'm going to try to do a moon shooter. Okay, I'm going to try to get it all done this week. My plan is to basically individually message to lay it out in Lumio what each thing does, have that also in the spreadsheet so that it can be in easier detail, and then and then basically make a poll where people can nominate themselves or anyone can nominate anyone, and we'll just trust that people nominate people who want to be on there, and then have the votes end on Thursday and see what happens. It's going to be we'll see. You know, if we can't add people to a multi-sig in 1 week, then we suck. So like, let's try not to suck. This is my proposal. I will make some Lumios. I will beg Lorelei to crack the whip so that I actually make time to do this, because it's going to take a couple hours of work and cat herding and documentation, and then we have votes that are important, and we just have to make sure people vote because I think it's important. And then we actually take the vote, because we got to remember our Lumios are open to like Adam Stallard and like random people. So like, it's not going to be like, oh, this is the person who wins because it's on the Lumio. We will verify these decisions on in the governance meeting next week, and the multi-sigs themselves will have to verify the decision as well. Sorry, I just talk too much. So that's the amended proposal. Any objections? Proposal passed. We have 5 minutes of fireside chat. So, does anyone have a topic?
I have just a quick announcement. Just like in case you missed it. It's not, well, it is kind of important because it's linked to the entire discussion we had before on the branding. So in case you missed it, so RSK sent out a press release to announce that the Blockchain for Humanity DApp is launched. So I retweeted with Giveth. But I'm not actively promoting it in our channels because it's not a Giveth steered project. They also did not ask us to. So I just wanted to let you guys know, unless you're like, no, you really have to push it. But I'm not doing that spontaneously. Just wanted to let you guys know.
Sounds good to me. Just a reminder, Pi Day is fastly approaching, and I think this is a huge opportunity for us to probably raise like $3 grand because the way they do things, I think that's going to be Giveth sweet spot. So I'm hoping that we can make that a priority for our for the next couple of weeks, just to stay in the loop and work with the crew as much as we can. I'll try to get people in the loop better, but
yeah, what does that mean? Make it a priority?
Well, I don't know. Like Danny, there's Castor Limon working on onboarding. We don't have to onboard them, but we have a blog post that we're trying to put together to come out. I don't know. I actually don't know, Danny, if you have to do anything, but just like also promoting it when it comes, and I don't know, just being on call and being aware that if something happens, it's a kind of a priority.
Do you know, Griff, did you set a date on it from Adam? Because I didn't hear back about that specific text now.
Yeah, I believe he's pushing to get it out by the 9th.
Okay.
For the next blog post. Thank you for pushing that other blog post. Really fast turnaround.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm planning on just drafting something for George based on what I have here and found. So I'm just creating a Google Doc, writing up what I would put into the campaign and having him review it rather than the other way around.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he'll probably pass it to Rafa to review as well.
Cool.
And then I had a great talk. I'm just trying to see if I can find the live stream and see if they actually recorded it, because I thought it did a pretty good job explaining stuff. So
yeah, if you find the link, please put it in unicorns. I might still watch it tonight. Actually, question then, Griff, if like, so the post that like I'm hoping to put out, if you feel it makes sense, like if I give an example, I don't want to go into specifics of like explaining in detail the technical side of it, because I'm not going to explain something that I don't entirely understand myself, and other people wrote this. But like, to give a concrete example, like which of the 3 talks that I prioritize to like watch to see like, hey, now we have the curation markets and the token bonding curves. Which of the 3 talks you did is like the simplest explanation that I can explain in a paragraph or something, 1 or 2, like how it works from the three talks? Which one are you happiest with?
I think it's one that I just did, although it doesn't look like, I can't seem to find a live stream from yesterday, so it's just going to take, so I think the only option you're going to have is like probably the Aura Libre one.
Okay.
I think I did a pretty decent job of explaining it there. I had a puppet, so that helped.
I saw that in the pictures, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, thanks. If you find it, you find it. I'll get to it later.
Omar's just wasn't very concise and very tired. So like I also Abby's blog post at least talks about the token bonding curve. That would be a good idea.
It's possible that I might just take something of that, but I'm thinking of maybe putting an example in it. Maybe it's gonna become too long. I'll see. I'll send you a draft at some point.
Yeah, send me a draft, and then also, if you want to have a quick interview, ask some questions, after you write the draft.
Yeah, then that might be a good idea. We'll see. Maybe the draft, if you're like, well, this is not useful, then we won't put it out. But I wanted to write something. So we'll see if it's useful.
If you feel inspired, let's go for it, man. I'll tell you, the reaction to this stuff has been off the charts. Off the charts. I haven't had, like, pretty much anyone who has a negative reaction, I respond to, and they really come around to it. So, like, and that's very few people. Most people are just like, this sounds fucking awesome. Let's do it, you know?
Yeah, I think I that's what I've heard as well, and that's for that reason I'm like I see all these tweets about it, and sometimes that's also why I wanted to write this post, because I'm a little bit hesitant to retweet it. If it's like, imagine if you're following Giveth and we're talking all the time about that, and suddenly we're talking all the time about this, and it's like I want on our official channel also post out there. That's why. So yep.
For sure. Any other topics before we close it out? Oh, hey, Bowen, while I have you, I don't know if you can talk, but how are we doing on Ether? Do we need to do an overflow multi-sig like move? Did it happen? Okay. Any other topics?
Can I stop the live stream?
Yeah. Sweet. Thanks, Bowen. Nice work.